Come, all you moonshiners, if you want to hear about the kind of booze that's
Welcome back to another video that we're going to do for you today. You know, again, we only survive because of you, so our community is strong. Keep us that way. Comment, like us, share us with your friends, subscribe, all that good stuff. Okay, on to better things. Today we're going to run our Turbo 500, and we're going to distill the, if you remember about 2 months ago, I made that watermelon, cantaloupe, apple, strawberry, brandy. And we fermented it, and to be honest with you, it's been like 2 months. Yeah, I did get to distill some of the other stuff. I had some friends over, you know, we did that, but yeah, it didn't last long. So now I get an opportunity for, I got the last portion of that batch left, because remember we made 3 buckets. Now, this is living proof, first of all, that a mash or a wash does not go bad. We've got a video on that you can check out, but you know, and the question is, can my mash turn to vinegar? Well, absolutely not. And I've heard the rumors before, and you know, the old wives' tales. Well, if I don't distill it within 3 days, it'll turn to vinegar. Well, I'd like to know how, because unless you insert the Acetobacter virus in order to turn alcohol into vinegar, it just can't happen. The same way, if you don't introduce yeast to turn sugars into ferment sugars into alcohol, you'll never have alcohol. So same thing, keep that in mind. So I've kept stuff like this, gosh, in the back corner for as much as 6 months. But it just doesn't go bad. It's naturally preserved. All right, here's what we're going to do though. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to set up my Turbo 500, and in my Turbo 500, you know, the column, that thing pumps out. It's a no kidding reflux still that just, it's amazing. It's almost a set and forget. You can turn it on and let it run. It takes about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and it'll pump out 180 start to finish. It'll strip everything out, but we don't want to do that. We want to leave that flavor in there because it is really good. So what I've done is I've removed all of the rashing rings or any of the medium inside the column, and I'm going to try to confuse it and have it operate more like a pot still. So just walk with me through this as we get doing this. You can actually do that. You get really good results. Plus, it saves you the cost of buying the Olympic Dome, which is going to run you, gosh, $300 because it's made out of copper. But we're going to try to trick this thing into running as a pot still. We've done it before, and we're going to do it again. We'll be with you shortly. And oh, we are here. Look, I've got this thing set up, and you can hear it running. It's starting to get warm to the touch. I've had it on for about 20 minutes. Well, what I did was, now, for those of you who aren't that familiar with a Turbo 500, the Turbo 500 is a wonderful, plug it in, fill it up, plug it in, turn it on, get it set, and leave it alone. Now, what I do recommend, though, is, you know, the water pump. And what this is all it does is provide a constant volume of water that you can adjust with this needle valve. And whether you adjust the needle valve here or you adjust the needle valve that comes with it, which would be on the faucet, just understand that a very small, minute change in this will make a drastic change on your temperature. And so the reason for this is believe it or not, this thing will sense, it'll feel. If someone flushes the toilet and the volume in your water changes, or they use a wash machine or dishwasher, you're going to find yourself chasing this temperature either up or down for the next 20 or 30 minutes until everything bottoms back out again and you get a constant pressure. So to avoid that interruption, you can get one of these. They're about 80 bucks, but we showed you how to build one of your own. Go back to the videos and check it out. Now, here's what we've got though. We've got cold water goes into the bottom here, and it goes up through this, and here's where it comes out. And I got my thermometer, my thermocouple temperature gauge right here, and I've got this thing set to Celsius, and this is the delivery line. This is where the spirits will come out. Now I'm going to have to set this to about 55 degrees Celsius, and these things are wonderful because, and I've got an extra one here, and then when you turn them over on the back, they've got an on and off button, and then they've got a Celsius Fahrenheit, so all you got to do is switch it. Those are reset, and then there's the small switch for Celsius Fahrenheit. So you can track it either way. I'm gonna track it Celsius today for a little while, and then I'll flip it over to Fahrenheit so you can get the idea what the temperatures are going to be. So all I got to do now is let this keep running, and we'll come back to you as soon as we get some production. Hang in there. Well, we're doing good now. I've got this thing running, and I've set it, you know, I said I was going to go to like 55 degrees Celsius. We're about 57 or so, but I've changed it to Fahrenheit because I'm more familiar with it, which is right now 139.1. And I'm going to continue to track that. Now I'm going to run this thing in between that and probably 145-ish or so because I don't have the rashing rings or anything in there, or the saddles or nothing. So I'm trying to use this more or less as a pot still, and it's not really designed for that. But I'm getting some really good results. Gosh, it smells wonderful. We're going to get there. Now, just to make you understand how the Turbo 500 works, because it's a little bit different than your average still. So instead of taking the temperature at the top of the column, this one is kind of reverse engineered, and you measure the temperature of the water that you use for cooling on the out. And based on the temperature of that, that's why it's not 173, 184. Because we're not measuring the vapor at the top of the column, we're measuring the water on its way out. So how hot is this column making that cold water, which it doesn't really matter what the temperature is going in, it's what's the temperature coming out. And that's kind of the way they've designed this. So we're going to keep tracking this. I'm at 140, 141, and we're really starting to kick into high gear. We'll be back, and I'm going to throw out these heads. And then I'm going to start collecting in a gallon jug because I'm just going to lay around and watch TV for a while. Well, I'm into the third quart of this, and I wanted to show you something that right now, I've measured this, and I'm at about 150 proof. Yeah, I'm sure you can see that by now. Yeah, I'm at about 150 proof, and the most interesting thing is that the aroma is just so, you know, I can detect the strawberry, the watermelon. I guess it's because I know what's in there, but I can actually tell that it's a fruit based, and I'm getting some of that fruitiness coming out. And I don't know if I can catch the cantaloupe or not. But what we're going to do is I'm going to continue to collect, and here shortly I'm going to cut this, and I'm not going to violate you know, the standing order that I have here that, you know, we don't drink on any of the videos, but what I might do is I might taste it and come back and tell you. But what I won't do is I won't actually drink anything on the video, because I just think it just detracts from the purpose of what we're trying to do, and that is to share information and help you along your way. One thing to keep in mind now, this is running really good at 167 to 168 degrees. So keep in mind that if you're going to run the Turbo 500 and you're going to run it with all the rashing rings as a reflux still, that temperature is going to be a little bit lower. It's going to be about 135 to 145, and that's where I started. But I had to precipitously move it up by adjusting the water flow, because that's how you control the temperature, until I got a good flow going. So the Turbo 500 reacts extremely efficiently and well to water flow. So I had to move that up. So I'm like 167, 168, and it's running perfect just like that. And remember that with this needle valve, just keep in mind, if you breathe or you think you're going to change it, it's going to move. So we'll be back with you shortly. Thanks. Well, here's what I can tell you. I'm on the very last jar. So I've got about 3/4 of a gallon, or a little bit more than 3/4 of a gallon of 160 proof. So I'm going to wind up with, I don't know, 6-7 quarts of this Brandy. That's if I cut it down to 80 proof. But you know, I had somebody else come over and check it out, and I asked him, I said, hey, smell this and tell me what you smell, and then taste this and tell me what you taste. And across the board, it was strawberries and watermelon. And then when I mentioned that there was a cantaloupe in there, I think I probably gave them a hint and they thought, but you know, all the flavors traveled through. So, and again, at 167 is probably the sweetest spot I could find for running this through the Turbo 500. And so I'm getting ready to shut it down now. I'm going to cut the rest of this and we're going to put it away and wait for a rainy day. So, as always, happy distilling.